We've had some pretty crazy tournament performances recently. We've had both Clix and Bucke winning their tournament win droughts. They haven't won a tournament in quite a while. Both of them winning tournaments in the last few days. And I want to talk about how some of these tournament performances have gone, but I also want to talk about how some pros think they don't count. We have a lot of pros right now quite upset about how this tournament schedule has gone throughout this season, and it's raised the question that I want to answer: what is the best schedule for a season between when it should end, when tournaments should start, when FNCS should start, and when the season should end? Because right now we have just had FNCS Grand Finals and over a 1 month break until the end of the season, and it's leading a lot of pros to get very demotivated. In half the cash cups, you probably notice people aren't even playing with their real teammates. People aren't even playing with players from their own region. We have the most cross-region teams I have ever seen, and it's because people just aren't taking the tournament seriously. Is this pros just being whiny and entitled, or is there some merit to what they're saying? Should we actually listen to how the tournaments are scheduled? And that's what I want to talk about. Whether you want to try and take it away from them or not, I'm going to give it to them. We had Bucke winning today's Quick Trio Late Game Cup alongside Peterbot and Gold. He was streaming it. His numbers were going crazy. Everyone was loving it, showing the Late Game Cups still are incredibly exciting. Meanwhile, we had him almost winning NA West as well. Almost did the back-to-back alongside Zeno and Batman Bucke on West, just being beaten out by Silksy's team. And then we had Clix walking away with the Quick Trio Cash Cup, not the Late Game Cup, on NA West a few nights ago alongside Jamper, and I wasn't Paper. He definitely wasn't playing with Paper on stream. He was playing with a new up-and-coming pro. I believe it's Pamper. Seems kind of crazy. Don't know where this guy's come from. He's just a little bit nuts. But again, a lot of people saying that these tournaments don't count. And it's not just the Quick Trio Cash Cups and the Quick Late Game Cups. None of that. Even the Duo Cash Cups and Solo Cash Cups. A lot of pros taking to social media to say that right now, tournaments just don't even feel like they're worth running. And we have this opinion from one of what I believe to be the biggest pro grinder in the scene, Seti. We have Become Legend Seti, and if you know anything about Seti, you know he is one of the most motivated and hardworking pros in the scene. So for him to say this means a lot. Seti said, there should never be that many tournaments, especially after FNCS. And we have other pros like Queasy agreeing, saying, agree, we just playing to play right now, not doing any loot pass or anything important, just freestyling. And then Diox raised the point, Grand should be the last event and then straight into a new season. And I kind of agree with this take as well. So for me, the perfect tournament schedule would always be no preseason. I'm not going to start this rant here. You guys know I hate preseasons. They make no sense. They achieve nothing for the game. No preseason. So we go straight into arena points being reset. I believe there should only be about 1 or 2 weeks until tournament starts. The first tournaments, which should be cash cups, could easily just be contender and above. A week to get like 2K points is incredibly easy for almost anyone. And then you can make champions from the second week onwards. I know what you guys are going to say. We need arena preseason to test the meta. Half the time, Epic doesn't even change anything from when we have the first meta, and Arena is not a good testing ground. When have you ever seen that, oh man, that item was so good in Arena, that's why it's so good in Cash Cups? Like, you get a little bit of a vibe, but the only thing it being broken in Arena normally tells you is the item never should have been in competitive in the first place. Until we see Cash Cups, you can't really judge the validity of an item. There's plenty of items that are crazy in Arena and terrible in Cash Cups, or crazy in Cash Cups and terrible in Arena, right? Most of the items we've had in competitive recently that got vaulted because of the preseason, you didn't need the preseason to decide they were OP. And even if they ran the first Cash Cup and there was crazy items in, would that be such a bad thing? Right now, we're running Cash Cups with a whole bunch of, we got shield bubbles, we've got shadow bombs, we've got suppressed SMGs, suppressed ARs. We have major meta changes midway through a Cash Cup between opens and finals. So clearly, if money's on the line and it's a tournament, it doesn't always have to be truly competitive. We can use the Cash Cups to test the competitive meta. It would be a far better way to test it. It means you could jump in day one, jump straight into arena grinding. It would be so much more fun. And then it frees up so much time for the rest of the season, because ideally, I do agree with Diox and most of the pros here. Once FNCS ends, I believe there should be 1 to 2 weeks until the end of season. I don't think there should be any tournaments on. And this is coming from a guy who makes his living off tournaments and watching tournaments. I think it should be an off season for the pros to take a break, because tournaments after FNCS, before a new season, just don't feel like they mean anything. Because again, none of the pros are taking it seriously, because next season, the entire meta could be different. The entire map could be different. At this point, we don't even know if there's going to be an FNCS before Invitational. So why would people even be trying in duos? It might even change game modes. There's just too many questions at the end of a season. So it just feels like even casual competitors, not just the top pros, can take it seriously. And I know what you're saying. Pros are so entitled, they're even complaining about tournaments now. I get it. I know what it sounds like. But at the same time, I don't think pros are complaining about tournaments being on. I think they're more complaining about the schedule of FNCS. This season's FNCS schedule was horrendous. Let's be honest. We had all the qualifiers running in 2 weeks in a row. Then we had semifinals on the third weekend. No, I think this was still only in 2 weeks. Then we had a 2-week break in the middle. Then we had grand finals and then 4 weeks off. It just makes no sense. There was so much time to either run the whole FNCS before the break that Epic went on or the whole FNCS after it. Having the break in the middle and then this gigantic break at the end of the season just really confuses me. Or at least if we're gonna have this big of a break, maybe schedule some kind of other bigger tournament on, maybe like a Winter Royale, an Autumn Royale, like something, just something to kind of feel like everyone's waiting for. Because right now, I don't know about you guys, but it just feels like we're all kind of waiting around for something to happen. Like people are playing the cash cups because why not? And I'm glad Epic didn't just leave a 1 month break of nothing. But I think the point a lot of pros are making and I'm trying to make is there should never be a 1 month break after FNCS before the next major tournament. Because again, it just feels like everyone's waiting around. And I want to hear your opinion in the comments down below. Do you agree or do you think the pros are just complaining for the sake of it? Ideally, FNCS, in my opinion, should last 5 weeks long. There should be 3 weeks of qualifiers, 1 on each weekend. Then there should be a semi-finals on the 4th weekend and then grand finals on the 5th. Some people say that takes a little bit too long and people don't care that much about FNCS anymore. I would still argue it's the most important tournament of the season. It should be cared about and it should take 5 weeks. If not, maybe make it last 4 weeks long, but I do not like this new trend we have with FNCS where the qualifiers are crammed into 2 weeks. You've got pros playing like 5 days in a row, 10 hours a day. It's just over in the blink of an eye and no one even knows what's going on. So I did want to make this video to talk about the competitive scheduling and hopefully next season we do have better competitive scheduling. I've given up on preseason. I think we're just going to have a preseason every single season and we're just going to have to deal with it, but potentially just FNCS at the end of season. So there's not this really weird break. Pro players need a break. They need to reset their mental because a lot of them are going to hit burnout, especially with the Invitational coming up. Just my 2 cents. Whether you think they count or not, I do want to shout out the Duo Cash Cup winners of the last couple days. On EU, we had QB and Frostfire Annie, I believe that is Fredoxy, walking out with the top spot on 161, a pretty underrated team to walk away with the Cash Cup win, beating out Vidil and Janice in second, Kombek and Blaha, I believe is how you pronounce that. I'm sorry, I know I butchered that. Then we had Bevy's Vortexes and Pink and Anas in 5th. So we had the big teams playing, Vidil, Janice, Pink and Anas, Queasy and Vino. So they're all showing up. So I do think big credit to QB and Fredoxy here. They played very, very well. Moving over to NA, you're going to have a bit different of a kind of spread. If you look at the leaderboard, there was a lot of random teams playing on NA. We did have a Vive and Pump take it away on 191 points with a phenomenal match history, playing really, really well, securing it with their last game 6 elim win, just showing they had the composure because they had a very, very informed Aegis and Kanata nipping at their heels, who got a 5 elim 4th in their last game. So it did really come down right to the wire. Then we had Casca and Accept, we had Qua and Acorn. Apparently Edgy is visiting family, but right now Acorn and Qua are looking incredibly dangerous right now as a duo. So if I'm Edgy, I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous here. We had Nosh and Tabney in 5th, a brand new team who basically placed on the back of just hyper aggression. One of the most exciting teams I've watched in a while. Their early and mid games were just constant W key. They were seriously popping off like crazy. When they made it to end game, they had all the loot and they just continued that dominance on the way through. We had Slacks and Clarity, Miro and Buga, and then a brand new team, Jampa and Cam. Now, Jampa and Cam won both the NA East and NA West Opens and now have come top 10 on NA East in the first set lobbies they've played. They are looking like an insane new team. All of you guys know Cam is one of the most dominant players right now in the world. He is popping off. Put him alongside Jampa. In my opinion, quite possibly the most underrated IGL on NA East. He's come second in 2 FNCSs, come 4th alongside Buga. Just such a good player who seems to always have his accolades taken away because he got carried by Day and Tragics. Then he got carried by Buga. Like, Jampa is one of the best IGLs, and I think him and Cam are a good shot to win the next FNCS if there is another duo FNCS. We had Rokane Threats, again, another brand new team, absolutely popping off as well. And then Tace and Iomzo. And as you go down the leaderboard, that's when you start to get some of the weird teams. We had so many EU and NA East teams. We had NA East, NA West teams. Just players are not even playing with their duos, who they're still a duo with going into the Invitational. They just wanted to take this tournament off because, again, feels like a little bit of a break. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.